Hi, I'm Leilua.
And I'm Plum. Welcome to the Cultural Exchange, a show that we're just going to start calling Let's Talk About Some Movies That We Saw.
Today we're talking about a very controversial topic.
And just as a disclaimer, you guys, consider this a report on the primer that we made for ourselves for our own entertainment and knowledge.
We didn't know too much about this subject before we started, and we'll probably mess some things up.
Yeah, and it's important that we get that out of the way in the beginning, because if we learned anything in the making of this episode, it's that if you say the wrong thing on the internet about this subject, people get kind of, well...
Right, let's do this.
Today we're talking about kaiju movies.
Kaiju is a Japanese word meaning strange creature. And in a movie, kaiju refers to the giant monsters that appear in Japanese tokusatsu movies after World War II.
Tokusatsu literally means special filming and basically means a movie with a lot of special effects.
In a strict sense, a kaiju movie is a Japanese tokusatsu-style movie, usually involving giant monsters and elements of science fiction and horror.
Though the first major non-dinosaur-based giant monster movie, King Kong, was made in 1933, the birth of the kaiju film genre is generally attributed to the 1954 release of Godzilla by Toho Company, the production company responsible for the monsters Mothra, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and Rodan.
In the original release, Godzilla's character is a daikaiju that heavily symbolized United States nuclear attacks on Japan during World War II.
Just one thing, daikaiju means big strange creature. But as has been pointed out on several angry internet forums,
And by me.
that symbolism disappeared pretty quickly.
In fact, in several Godzilla sequels, including Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla, Godzilla is a heroic protector of Japan.
And sometimes it's a little difficult to tell who's protecting who. Whom.
Daikaiju often appear as giant messed up versions of animals that freak us out, like insects, dinosaurs, or giant apes.
However, when we think of kaiju films, King Kong presents a bit of an anomaly.
As far as city-destroying monsters are concerned, he is pretty empathetic. As destructive as he is, Kong is a primate. He's from Earth.
Plus he's fuzzy.
Such is not the case with the types of monsters now found in the kaiju genre. Daikaiju are often mutated hell beasts spawned by the radioactive follies of man or sent from somewhere in outer space to destroy us.
Not only do their alien motivations elude the audience, but their size, their weight and height and volume on screen and within the narrative present the viewer with a unique anxiety.
Unlike disease or murderers or wedding stress or clowns, the fear inspired by daikaiju is not in suspense, but rather in screaming, chaotic terror.
Kaiju films gained popularity in the 50s and 60s, and even though more recently monsters in Japanese movies have taken on a wider variety of forms, they're still pretty popular.
Several Western kaiju movies have been attempted in recent years, with varying levels of success. Most notably 2010's Monsters, 2008's Cloverfield, and 1998's Roland Emmerich remake of Godzilla.
No, not that one.
But one has taken its place at the head of the pack.
We always thought alien life would come from the stars, but it came from deep beneath the sea, a portal between dimensions in the Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Rim is Hollywood's most recent and arguably most successful attempt at producing a modern giant monster movie that resonates with audiences that are used to both amazing computer-generated special effects and realistically portrayed emotionally complex superheroes.
We have become hard to please.
As a 3D summer blockbuster, it hits every mark.
Epic visual fight scenes, attractive co-stars looking at each other longingly.
Robots. I like robots.
And all the while the fate of humanity hangs in the balance.
But movie audiences are kind of used to that sort of thing. The plot of Pacific Rim is not what impresses people. Honestly, it sometimes feels like it's a montage of worse versions of scenes from other movies.
Today, at the edge of our hope, at the end of our time, we have chosen to believe in each other.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore.
Today we face the monsters that are at our door.
We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight.
Today we are canceling the apocalypse.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
So basically, make sure your 3D glasses work when you see this movie.
Scientists have not yet perfected the third D.
But what is impressive about this movie are the giant monsters and the giant robots and the giant fight scenes where they punch each other in the face.
Pacific Rim is about a bunch of alien Kaiju coming out of the ocean and destroying things like all good monsters do.
In response, humanity builds enormous brain-operated Iron Man suits called Jaegers that are so big and complex that they're controlled by two people with linked-up brains.
Two-pilot system was implemented. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere, pilot control.
Two pilots engaged in neural bridge.
I wish they had made it so that each pair of pilots have one left-handed person and one right-handed person. It would be the most efficient piloting combination.
And I think that they missed the opportunity to call the pilots Jägermeisters.
No. Pacific Rim was visually conceptualized and directed by Pan's Labyrinth's director Guillermo del Toro.
He really went crazy with this one, going so far as to institute an American Idol-style elimination process with his creature creation team's character designs. It resulted in some of the most amazing nerd-approved computer-generated cinematography in recent years.
Del Toro made sure his design team created a series of kaiju that not only were unrecognizable as Earth animals, but could also technically be worn as a costume.
And the Jaeger designs were just as, if not more, amazing.
There's China's Crimson Typhoon that uses 3 rotating arms to create a whirling tornado of death for 20 seconds before the movie ran out of money and had to kill it.
Cherno Alpha is the Russian Jaeger and uses its giant fists to punch monsters in the face really hard.
The Australian striker Eureka has pointy stabbing weapons and chest missiles and a name made of the 2 best words to say in an Australian accent.
And then there's Gypsy Danger from America that uses its fists, tools, a big-ass sword that should have probably been used earlier, and...
Elbow rocket!
Dude! Not its opening weekend in America. This visual triumph of a movie, with its fanboy on Adderall attention to detail, was rewarded for its blood, sweat, and Mountain Dew consumption with worse attendance than the sequel to Despicable Me and Grown Ups 2. What the fuck, America?
We're so disappointed in you.
It's like I don't even know you anymore.
Pacific Rim ended up earning around $100 million in American box office, which was grim considering it cost twice that much to make.
But luckily, some places still appreciate mindless dialogue and artistically meticulous monster bots beating the crap out of one another.
Like everywhere else in the world.
In China especially.
Even though Chinese state administration for radio, film, and television doesn't generally greenlight the production of films containing unrealistic or superstitious content, people here really like to watch kaiju movies.
It took 6 weekends for Pacific Rim to earn $100 million in the States, but in China it passed the $100 million mark in half that time.
And as of August 20th, Pacific Rim had made upwards of $384 million worldwide, meaning that a sequel is likely.
So it looks like you'll have another chance, America. Please go see it.
We need Guillermo del Toro to be in charge of as many money-making 200-foot-tall monsters as possible, so one day he'll be able to hatch the H.P. Lovecraft movie of Morgan's dreams.
In his house at Rillier, dead Cthulhu waits, dreaming of getting back at Prometheus for killing the At the Mountains of Madness movie, which I don't... Anyway, thank you very much for appreciating a good thing when you see it, China.
And China, 如果你有任何建议，欢迎关注我们的豆瓣文化交流小站，或者在优酷上留言。
And if you're outside the firewall, please like us on Facebook or subscribe to the Pulp Online 24/7 YouTube channel for this and other exclusive, awesome video content from our wonderful and nerdy friends over at Shanghai247.net.
And that's the cultural exchange. Where's my goddamn script?